Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Come in, and say good morning. We have Dinah on the chat. Hello to everyone who is starting up the computers and firing up their screens. Feel free to say hello in the chat and where you're from. You may notice that Cliff seems to have said hello, everyone, but that's actually me. Cliff's not here today. Pardon me, you have me again. So we have Catherine from Vienna, thank you. Titus in Cumbria, James in Somerset, Annette from Germany, Tahira, hello everyone. It's lovely to see you all. Fantastic that we have another beautiful morning. In Norwich, we have another beautiful morning. Whether it's morning or not with you, I hope you have a lovely day. But let's start it with a Wednesday class. So we're going to, usual sort of thing, we'll do some, I've completely lost my words. We will do some warming up and scanning, do a couple of polls, and then go into the exercises. The theme this time is the earth element, and we've just gone through stomach, and now we are about to start the spleen channel. And I'm going to go into a little bit of a discussion about the gut and the digestion and all the sort of beauty in that. Not all of it, that would take forever. I'll just mention it. But for now, hello, and let's start. So if you come to standing or sitting, I'm going to be standing. So come to take a moment and just have a sense of scanning into the group as a whole. So notice yourself, have a sense of yourself standing or sitting there, and then imagine everyone else, a lovely big circle of people around you. You're part of the circle too, and just wherever they are, whether you are live now or joining later, in all the different parts of the world, in all the different times. And just this is our group for this moment. Thank you very much, everyone. It's lovely to be here. Okay, and now coming away from that back to yourself, let's just have a little moment of just jiggle the body a little bit. Just sort of kind of coming a little bit more, oh yeah, here's the body. Wiggle bits about, loosen up little bits. If you need to stand up, stand up. And using the breath is incredibly important to come into ourselves, so breathe in. Okay, shake a little bit of space so we know where we are. Good. And let that just come to a little bit of a settle until any last little bit of movement and shaking just settles right in, and you can let go. And here we are. So we're going to scan through the body, and mainly what we're looking for this time is feelings of heaviness or sort of squelchiness, or sort of a dampy quality. And it's okay if you don't have any of those. You can just notice for anything that is catching your attention. But if you happen to notice any qualities of heaviness or not feeling very supported or a bit sort of squelchy and fluidy dampy, then that's going to be really interesting for us. And it's okay if that's not there. So we'll do that, and then we'll have the 3 burners scan after that. Okay, so let's come to the top of the head and just notice the feeling of your skull, your cranium, your head, sides of the head, forehead, back of the head, the face, your sense organs, your jaw. How's the jaw? Get a sense of the whole head. How's the head? Any fogginess or heaviness or anything like that? And then move into the neck. Maybe the head's nice and clear, so we can move through the neck now. Throat, sides of the neck, back of the neck, and into the shoulders. How are the shoulders today? And out across to the tips of the shoulders and down the arms. So through the arms, through the elbows, forearms, much more stringy muscles of the forearms, into the wrists, even finer qualities through the wrists and hands and fingers and fingertips. And take the arms as a whole. How are the whole of your arms and shoulders? Okay, and then let's go through the chest and the upper back, scanning down through the rib cage, sides of the ribs, front, back, and inside into the organs. Don't have to know them all one by one, but we're just scanning through the torso now. And the belly, how's the belly today? And how about the back? Any difference from front to back and inside to outside? And scan through the pelvis. Very important part of the body. Your hips, how are the hips? The buttocks, largest muscles in the body, through into the thighs, all the way down through the long thighs to the knees, into the calf muscles, ankles, much more intricate feet and toes. Wiggle them a bit and get a sense of the whole legs. How are the legs? What are they like? And now just get a sense of the whole body, the whole of yourself. What's that like? Is there, you can remember, we often will draw this if you've got paper nearby. So is there an image that comes with that? Is there a sense of any blockage or weakness, any heaviness or clarity? Okay, and bring your attention just back into the room. You can open your eyes, maybe shake out a little bit. If you have some paper, which I have completely forgotten to bring into the room, then please do take a moment to write down any notes or draw a picture that came up and just see what it's like. I can tell you, for me, I have a bit of fogginess up in the head, a bit of sort of liquidy dampiness more in the gut. So that's my sort of feeling. Maybe a little bit of not quite support in the lower back. This is what I'm talking about in terms of that sort of heaviness type qualities. But it could be something else for you. Now, what I'm interested in the first poll is, so the poll reads, where in the body do you feel the block or weakness you would like to work with? And I would say with that, where in the body do you feel the heaviness or dampness or block or weakness? So we've got some torso, main trunk of the body, we've got back and spine. There's a little bit in the limbs, more shoulders, head and neck coming in as well. It's fairly even so far. This is really interesting. The back and the torso being probably the majority of people. More and more of us are answering, so it's always interesting to see where it goes. Okay. Lovely. Anyone else who has yet to answer, please drop in. But it's looking like the majority is in the torso, main trunk of the body, with quite a few people also starting to talk about the back and the spine, which makes a lot of sense. You know, that's it's going to be important. I'm going to nip back to the chat. All of the above. Yes, that's totally fair. So now we are just going to go through the 3 burning spaces as usual. So if you want to come back to sitting up or standing, and bring your attention down to the lower burner. So this is from the belly button down to the top of the pubic bone. So equal spaces, you know, all the way through. So this is this lower belly area. And you can have one hand on the back if you like, just sort of sacrum and just above. Or you can have both hands on the front or no hands at all. It's up to you. I like having hands on. Scan into this quality inside of your lower belly, your lower burner. What's it like? Allow that to come up as some sense or image or quality. Oh, interesting. Okay, I got more of a metaphorical image, but I've got a sense of something. So now we're going to bring our attention to the middle burner. So from the belly button up to the diaphragm, which is pretty much just where the ribs meet at, about here. So again, I'm going to place my hands on, just relax, sink my attention inside. What's it like inside here? Okay, interesting. And just in case you're a little bit uncertain, bring your attention back down to the lower burner. What's the lower burner like? Something there to be aware of. Middle burner, what's that like? And is it exactly the same? Or is there some kind of difference? So for me, there's a lot of difference. I can really notice this is a bit more like, and this is a bit more like, there you go. I don't have a pen and paper, so I just have to give it to you like that. And now the upper burner, from diaphragm up to the collarbones, same sort of space. You can place your hand on top, or you can just be open. What's it like inside? Bringing your attention inside the upper chest, the upper burner. Okay. And if you want to, you can compare, say, with the middle burner. What's the middle burner like again? Yeah, still like that. And then the upper burner, is it exactly the same? No. I'm actually feeling pretty good in my upper burner. So, which of the upper burners are you wanting to work with? You may want to mark down on a piece of paper what it's like. But here we go. Which burner do you want to work on most today? And here we go. Lots of people coming in. At the moment, there's more people wanting to work in the upper burner, which is very interesting. So we're going to be working, like I said, we're going to be working with the theme at the moment is the earth element, which is about the middle burner, but don't let that sway you. In there is the spleen, that's the channel that we're on at the moment, and that relates obviously with digestion. The point of the week is going to be an interesting one. I'm going to tie it in with a few things about the gut in general, but not only the gut, but many things. Okay, so anyone else wanting to click in with the poll? I think we've pretty much got a clear, obvious, work the upper burner most, and previously more people were focusing on the torso and maybe a bit the back, about where the sort of blockages and the main areas are. So let's go with that. I'll just take that back to the chat. And before we begin, I'm going to do the old point of the week just to check in with it. I'm going to have to get a chair for this because it's on the feet again. So excuse me while I just get this chair. And I will get up the slide just so we can see. And it is this one, I believe. Ta-da! This is the point of the week, spleen 3. Now you can see that it is just behind the head of that big knuckle back here in the foot. So there's the tip of the toe. That's where this is where the toe connects. So the big knuckle there, and you drop back. I'll just show you that a little bit more clearly. Don't worry, we'll go into these details later, but you can all see. Jane's saying, you wanted to vote for lower burner. I guess there is a sign that there's a bit of fogginess in the mind there, but that's okay. That's great. That's clear to work with. So tip of the toe, toe knuckle, toe connects here to the foot. You've got this big knuckle here on the side, and it's just behind that. So let's just connect in. So you can use the thumb to just find, you kind of got the softness, you got the bony, and you come back a little bit into the softness. Said to be on the border of the red and white skin. So you kind of got the bit where you've got the skin of the upper foot meeting the skin of the sole of the foot. So it's that kind of halfway house. And we're just going to just notice, do you notice any sense of it connecting any particular part of the body or any particular quality within you? It's okay if you don't. Just notice. I'm really noticing around my knee more than anything, starting to go into my hip. So that's what I'm noticing. I'm going to put my sock on. We'll go to the other foot. I'm not going to take my sock off with the other foot, but we're checking in to notice without doing any key work, without doing any energy work, or using great mindful attention. We're just checking in. So here's the point, big knuckle here, coming into the soft bit. I'm going to use my thumb. Here we go. And sinking into the point, this is spleen 3. It's great for connecting to a supportive quality. Notice what that does. So it's just going to guide you a little bit with that. Okay, so on this side, I'm feeling that it's linking straight into my digestive system, into my gut. We'll come back to that in a bit. Okay, I'm going to put the chair away. Feel free to write in the chat if you felt anywhere in particular where that was connecting to, because we'll check back in later when we've done a bit of work to see if that has changed at all. Okay, in the meantime, let's start. So find yourself feet about hip to shoulder width apart. And let's just get a sense of grounding to begin with. Okay, so I want you to just notice your feet on the ground, maybe just like wiggle the toes, scrunch them a bit on the floor. There we go. Kind of rock backwards and forwards a little bit, side to side. And then relax, allow your hips, knees, ankles to soften. Feel the legs kind of plant on the ground a bit more. And now take the weight over to one foot. Feel that weight through that one side. Take the weight over to the other side. And as you do this, try not to think, woo, ooh, woo, ooh. Pardon me. What we're trying to get a quality of is almost like we're taking the weight, sliding it under the ground into the other side. It's almost like we're sliding the weight underneath and allowing the adjustment all the way through to hold that weight. Okay, and again. There. And finally come back to center. Stand up a little bit and then relax down a little bit. set. Okay, so hopefully just that little bit of shifting weight about in the lower part of our body just gets us feeling a little bit more settled on the ground. And then, yeah, we'll just open up a little bit in the upper body. So just allow the arms to raise up gently to wherever's comfortable. Step back a little bit. And then just let the arms slowly fall open, come down to the sides. And breathing in. Maybe look up a little bit so you feel a bit of an openness in the front. Allow the arms to come back as you bring your head forwards, and then as the arms sink down, you can let the head just look down, not straining anything, not overstretching anything. And then this time, raise the arms up to a comfortable position, look one way and reach over. Look the other way, gently reaching over that way. Trying to stay grounded in the feet. Breathing in and breathing out. Okay, give it a little bit of a shake. Hopefully we are now a little bit more grounded in the lower, open in the upper. And let's just get into the 3 burning spaces. So we're going to connect down to the earth using the kidney, down to the yin, using the kidney. To start off by holding the lower burner, sending a bit of qi through the hands as we breathe. So we're breathing in, and not only are we drawing air in and down under our hands, but you're almost drawing qi through your hands into your belly, all the way through to the spine. So you ready? Breathing in. Let it settle. Breathe out what you don't need. Okay, and again, breathing in. Letting it settle into that lower burner in the spine. Breathe out what you don't need. One more, breathing in. Settle. Let it nourish, breathe out. Okay, I'm just going to do a few circles. And this is just the lower burner area. We're just warming, nourishing, moving, stimulating the lower burner. If you felt like it was full and overactive and needed calming, do it nice and slowly. So remember, you do what you need to for you. That's the most important thing. It's not the what, it's the how. And the how will be designed by how you are already. Okay. We're just connecting into this lower burner area. And it's not only the kidneys you've got in here, but it's also all of the intestines. And the intestines, as so many people have started to say recently, the gut is the new brain, the second brain, and there's tons of neurons, hundreds of billions of neurons interacting through the fine epithelial layer of the intestines. Now, really, there's so much that we could go into this, but we're not going to. We're just going to touch on a couple of things here. That the gut is, in a sense, kind of nicknamed the new brain because if you want to change this up, by the way, move your hands to the back and rub the kidneys now and the spine, and you can even have a little bounce in the legs. From 2000 to 2010, roughly speaking, the scientific community learned more about the brain than it had learned in all of previous history in the exploration of the brain, scientifically speaking, which is pretty amazing. But then, pretty much from 2010 to 2020, and still going, people have been learning about the gut and its function as almost an extension of or a different concept of the brain, which is why it's often called the second brain. And if you can't do this in the back, by the way, just carry on with this. So it's a really interesting new sense of center of self. And so many cultures have always had this area as a center of self. The hara, the dantian, the importance of the belly and how nourishing is important for us, core sense of being. Okay, so now we've done a little bit of warming, stimulating, rubbing. We're going to do a little bit of tapping down the bladder and kidney. So tapping sacrum, backs of the legs, to the little toe, squeeze under the foot, up, turn the toes out to reach kidney in the inside back of the leg, up to the hips, back around to the sacrum. Last time. Notice how that's feeling. Let's do a little bit of kidney 1. Just a quick bit. Remember, kidney 1, this point here. And it's quite a large point. You don't have to be too precise, but basically you're 1/3 of the way down. So, squeezing into kidney 1, mainly opening up that area in particular, but then you can also just expand out and just have a little bit of a squidgeroo around the whole foot. Feet really appreciate being squeezed, but really opened up, explored, played with. It's like you're always standing on them, walking around on them, or kind of just sitting down and therefore not doing anything with them. So, giving them some conscious, therapeutic or caring touch is really appreciated. And anytime we find a knot or a sore point, like I've just found one here, it's worth getting into that difficulty and that pain, but allowing it to just soften, see what kind of comes from it. We'll come back to that in a minute as well. Ow! Okay, and then come back to kidney 1 again. Really allowing yourself to sink into the point, not just squeezing it with force, but sinking in, softening and opening, feeling that opening into the leg and the body. Okay, let's give the sole of the foot a bit of a tap. You want to use a loose fist if you want. Okay, other side. So remembering 1/3 of the way down from the top, from the toes. Oh, so nice. So nice. Of course, the best is when you get someone else to massage your feet for you. Once again, just to remind you, this is one of the most yin points of the most yin part of the body. So if there is difficulty with things like being calm in the evenings, then that would be a yin time of day where you would need a yin quality, like being calm and getting more ready for bed and sleep. This is a good point to work at that time, to encourage the yin quality of calmness, of sleep, etc., etc. So that's just a really simple way of looking at that. Any other yin aspect you notice? By the way, I'm now just getting into a whole foot thing, so just play with the feet in general, and then come back to the kidney one. Soften, soften, soften. A little tap. Okay, I'm moving the chair back. If you are wanting to come to standing again. So now standing with that sense of opening kidney one, that softening through the feet, opening through the legs into the lower dantian, getting that lovely connection, connecting all the way into that deep yin of the earth. And with that, a sense of support, a deep sense of there's a solid ground, giving good solid support into the body. Allow that quality of support to come through and notice how the rest of the body, the torso, upper body, can start to relax a bit more with that sense of support. Ah, lovely. Ah. I feel like micro kind of like releases and adjustments happening. It's like, especially around here, into the sort of back and here and a little bit up here, just a bit like, because this is so much more stable and set, supported. Really important to remember. Okay, when you are ready, we can come to the middle burner. And so for me, the middle burner was really tight. You may want to check in, just check in, what's the middle burner like? Is it any different from before now that we've worked the lower burner? Maybe you notice it, maybe you don't. Mine's pretty much the same. It's actually feeling really tight. The earth element is part of the middle burner, as well as the wood element. Earth element is more about that nourishment, nurturing, support that we just felt. And the wood element is more about the free flow, smooth flow and expression. So we'll get into a bit of those. First of all, let's come to the stomach and spleen. So we're going to hold over the belly button and do a few circles like this. Remembering that the hands are pouring Qi, energy, life, spirit, whatever you want to call it, into the body. And as they're doing it, try to imagine it's not just like, what does Qi feel like? Whoosh. If you're like that, try to get for you what is most nourishing, what is most like a perfect golden nectar for you. Something that makes you just automatically want to go, good. And the direction is important. We're going up on the right, down on the left. We're going around the whole of the hara, the whole of the belly. From ribs down to hips, all of that digestive organ. And the stomach and spleen are in the earth element. The stomach is said to accept the food and break it down, to rot and ripen, make it ripe and ready. The spleen is then said to sort of extract the qi that is ready to be extracted and send it out into the body and transport the rest on for further sort of sorting. So transformation and transportation. In this, the stomach has more of a sense of connecting to the gut and it's sort of the very structure of the gut in a way, and the spleen more with the digestive action. I think that's right. Diana, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. But basically, both together have a strong action on the whole of the digestive system. And so, being the earth element, we have that sense of nourishing through the entire gut. And as we were saying a moment ago, the gut is so vitally important in being a center of ourselves. The brain is not the only thing that processes the information of our lives. So is the gut. That's why we talk about gut instinct and a gut feeling, or I felt it in my core. And I think it's in Mongolia when you talk about sort of a greeting, hello, how are you? How's your family? The response is fattening up nicely, thanks. As in, like, we've got plenty to eat and we're all taking it in well. So it's like this, there's a sort of an automatic sense of down here is important. Okay, so now that we've done that, let's do a little bit of tapping, gentle tapping on the actual belly. You may want to come to the ribs, come to the belly. And now we're going to go down the fronts of the legs. We've got stomach on the outside edge from the knee and shin, spleen on the inside edge, but still on the front. So tapping down the stomach, up the spleen, down the stomach, up the spleen, down and up. And then whilst we're tapping, come to the ribs and come around the lower ribs, sides of the body. This is now going into the liver and the gallbladder, which is the wood element. This governs the sides of the body, like kind of tent ropes. So. Now, if you've got a bit of tightness, like I have, you may want to give it a bit more of a tap for releasing. Otherwise, you may want to be really nice and light if you're feeling more sensitive. I'm feeling a little bit sensitive today, I'm going to be honest, so I'm not tapping really hard. But if you're feeling really blocked and like you really want it to shift, get right in there. But if not, then keep it light. Okay. Now bring that to the sort of outer edges of the ribs, lower ribs, hips, and onto the sides. You can use a light fist here. I'll get a bit closer as well. So you see there's like the side of the body here, hip bone starts here, like that. So you're in this sort of area. And there's a great point here. It's probably reasonably tender, but it's great for releasing tension and connecting upper body to lower body. Okay, down, sides of the leg outside, and then inner, inside. It's like the trouser seams. Gallbladder to liver. One more. Okay. A little bit more of a tap around, and then just smoothing through. Shaking the legs a little bit. Maybe just a little bit of a jiggle. And as you're jiggling, maybe you're noticing the feeling of the belly has softened a bit. The muscles internally may have softened a little bit, maybe even up here. So as you're breathing, try to feel a sense of the diaphragm, and then the stomach and the liver and the organs underneath it, the intestines, kind of being pressed as the diaphragm expands, or contracts in fact, but presses downwards as you breathe in. So breathe in. Feel it, jiggle, 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 soften, soften, breathe out. Oh, I'm getting lots of gurgling. Breathing in. Soften, 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 and breathe out. Last one. Okay. Last few little circles there. Lovely. And shake out. And let's just check in. How is the burner now? Middle burner. Okay. Do we remember how it was when we started? And is that different to how it is now? How is it now again? Yeah, so a little bit different for me. I'm certainly noticing a bit more softness, a bit more openness. I could spend more time with this because that was the one that I would have definitely started with. Clicked on if I had the poll in front of me. But we need to move to the upper burner because that's what most of you are calling for. We've done the lower burner. That sets the stage for everything. We connected nicely to the ground, felt that support from the earth to allow everything to soften. Moved into the middle burner, loosened up. Now the upper burner. So let's just take a couple of nice breaths up into the chest, just into the lungs. Just feel the lungs expanding. You're not having to breathe down. We can just breathe up here when we consciously breathe to feel ourselves expand. So breathing into the chest. And relax and breathe out. Notice any areas of tension. Is it up in the shoulders? Is it front of the shoulders, chest, more into the ribs at the bottom part of the chest? So breathing in. And relaxing out. And just one more. We'll get more of a full breath now, breathing into more of the whole body. Okay, so let's just have a sense of, there may have been a few areas you may have felt some tension or difficulty in the chest. What we're going to do is do a few stretches and some tapping and see if that opens things out a little bit. We'll start with the obvious one that we often do, this one. Oh, my arms seem to be a bit off center. It's all right, I've got tension in my shoulder. So we're going to breathe in, reaching forwards, and it's quite nice to add a little bit extra there because that opens out the backs of the shoulders. And then as you breathe out, you allow the palms to open and allow the middle finger to extend you backwards. You can allow, if you want to, you can look up as well. It will just encourage this to open a bit more, but don't push it, please. Just let yourself feel to a comfortable stretch position, no more. Okay, so breathing in, breathing out. Palms open, middle fingers extend a little. If you want to extend it any further, look up. And come back in. Okay. Again, breathing in. I certainly don't want to push it because I've had a bit of a tight chest recently. Not inside, but just musculature. So we'll breathe in one last time. Palms open, that center of the palms, middle finger. Okay, shake off. We'll do a little bit of tapping. And this is sort of halfway down the pectoral muscle, women closer to the soft breast tissue. And you're coming then up to the middle front and down the bicep, down the middle of the forearm, palm, middle finger. And turn over, come up the second to last finger, middle of the back of the arm to the top of the shoulder. So, middle of the pectoral muscle, middle, it's all about the middle. This is the heart protector, triple heater. It really is middle. And it's an aspect of the Shen. When you look at the Tai Chi or Yin Yang symbol, you can almost, if you want to, think of the center line where the meeting of the two qualities is, which is where the magic happens, as the Shen. This is the sort of often talked about as the spiritual aspect of the person, but especially to do with heart and heart protectors. Moving to the other side. I'm staying fairly light in terms of the tapping because heart protectors are fairly sensitive and core place to our sense of emotions, but also the mind, the consciousness, awareness. So we don't want to go hitting it too hard. Okay. Lovely. So that's a nice place to start with the heart protector. Now, there's a couple of different ways of doing the heart stretch. I always, though, encourage you to raise your elbows up. So when we do hands in prayer position in front of us, in front of the heart, see this? Don't just have the elbows dropped. If you have a little bit of focus in the little fingers, and then not lifting the shoulders up, but trying to just raise the elbows up, then what you find is it opens out the underneath of the arm, from the armpit, round the elbow. And this is where the heart and the small intestine run. So we can bring the arms up in breathing out, but I would prefer to do it this way. It's almost like you are bowing in honor and reverence. So bring your hands to heart level. Allow the elbows to raise up so that you feel a bit of a draw underneath your arms. Breathing in. And then bowing from the hips, but keeping the hands and the elbows in front, not down here, but in front. So the fingers are still pointing upwards. And then bend the knees to come back up. Okay. So, bringing the hands to the heart. In front of you, elbows up, breathing in. And allow yourself to bend forwards, but keeping the hands in front of you in honor and reverence. Smile gently. Smile into your heart. Okay, let the hands drop, bend the knees to come up. Last time. Hands to the heart. Hands in front of you. Lift up. Have a sense of that heartfelt connection, that heart sense of how beautiful, and I honor and have reverence. Especially when it's for something greater than just the one individual self. And let the arms drop, bend the knees and come up. Hopefully that's not been too much on the back. If it is, give the hips a little bit of a wiggle. You can sort of wobble yourself around a bit. Okay. And then lastly, we're going to do the lung and large intestine. And the reason I'm taking us to the lung and large intestine last is because we've kind of gone through all of the organs upwards, and the last is the lung, and one of those effects is to then descend and disperse so that it comes back down to the kidneys before it starts all over again. So it's a perfect kind of recycling system inside of us. So let's just see how it feels reaching up with the thumbs and the fingers, just kind of reaching up like this as if you're long. Just notice how it feels in the shoulders, the arms, the chest. Okay. Probably notice Maybe it's already nice and open because we've done some lovely stretching. But let's just now tap first of all. So we're tapping more at the top of the pectoral muscle, just underneath the collarbone. So the shoulder down just above the bicep, down towards the thumb. Turn the hand a little bit, forefinger up on the large intestine, just above where we were for the lung, to the top of the shoulder. And you're just above the collarbone, just below the collarbone, above the bicep. Oh, I do love an involuntary sigh. Okay, so same on the other side, just above the bicep, just above the tan line. Large intestine, just into the tan line. And you're just above the collarbone when you come to the shoulder. So then below the collarbone, to the lung, towards the thumb. And then index finger up. One last one. Just stroke the tops of the arms there. Okay. And then we're going to do some arm swings, I think. Let's do that. So feet facing straight forwards. Soft in the ankles, knees and hips again. And have that sense of the kidney one opening, nice and soft. Sense of the ground. Openness through the legs into the lower body. And again, that sense of support. Really feeling that stability of the ground. And the yin stability and its support up into the body. Okay, and allow a little bit of softness and releasing in the body. And now just give a little bounce with the legs. You can let the arms start to rock backwards and forwards. Each bounce, and it's almost like you're trying to encourage the arms to swing behind you by using the bounce and only a little bit of movement from the shoulders. So, as Dinah regularly likes to say, and I love this idea, imagine that you have from heavens a lovely kind of bungee cord and they're just going boing, boing, boing. Okay. And then to accentuate it, you can bring up your thumbs and your index fingers for the lung and the large intestine. And then we can play with which way around our hands are facing. So you can have it, the way I like to do this is to start with the thumbs facing downwards and notice what it's like. And then after a few of those, turn the thumbs towards each other. So the thumbs are facing inwards now. Notice what that's like. And thumbs upwards now. Different part of the shoulders, maybe chest feels a bit different. And if you start to find that you're doing less of the bounce and more just like moving the arms, just kind of encourage that stability, that grounding, and letting go with the arms. Okay, there we go. And then finally, turn the thumbs outwards. Different quality again. And we won't do it now, but another way that you can play with this at home is whichever way around you want to have your hands and play with that. You can be going straight back like this, or you can be moving more outwards. So the difference between going straight back and going outwards with all the different turnings. So now just let the legs settle and the arms just come to their own timing of settling, and the movement getting smaller and smaller and more internal, and how that's had an effect in the upper body as well as in the lower body. Lovely. Okay, and now let's just try this lung stretch, not like a proper stretch, but just reaching up and noticing how it feels when we reach up with the arms like this. Because we did it a minute ago before working the lungs. Is it any easier in the shoulders, in the arms? Okay, I've still got a few little patches in the shoulders, but that's fair enough. My shoulders are always very tight. That's my main area. So now we can do a couple of nice yawning breaths as well. So let's just reach up and yawn. And let the arms really drop with the out breath. So one more. Okay. And just to check in, let's do a breath like we did at the very beginning with the upper burner, and noticing what it's like breathing just into the lungs and the upper burner space. So take a nice breath in and notice what it's like inside. Okay, relax, breathe out. Any different from before? Maybe. Okay, and let's just get an overall sense of the body. What's it like now? Having worked all the burning spaces, all the stretching and the tapping. And just check in, because at the beginning we did that. We scanned through all the different bits and we scanned the body as a whole. When we scanned at the beginning, what was that like? And then now we've got all of this work that we've done. We've got more Qi flowing, regulated the burning spaces a bit more. Okay, maybe you notice a bit of difference. Maybe not, that's okay. But now let's come back to the point of the week. Zingy, says Tahira. That is a great description. So it looks like there's been lots going on with the chat. Bing! Spleen 3. Tai Bai. Tai is pretty much always means great, large, supreme. So supreme white, or sometimes great brightness, great light. So this is, like I said, that spleen 3 point just behind the knuckle. You can see where the red dot is. It's just behind a knuckle in the which is back of the big toe. So just connect in with that point. Now the reason why I asked earlier when we were scanning about any heaviness, any sort of squidgy, squelchiness, fluidy in an unhelpful way, or foggy mind. And it says here that it's good for heaviness in all 3 heaters, which is quite miraculous. So you might have a heaviness that's in the lungs, and that might be like a bit more like the lungs not feeling so able to expand freely, and they're a bit like clogged. Might even be a bit phlegmy if there's heat. The middle burner might be a bit more heavy, and generally the sort of stomach and the digestive capacity just feels a bit like sluggish, and like you're not going to be very able to digest easily. In the lower burner, it may be more like a sort of a general slow down. I don't have the energy, I'm just sluggish, and that in the lower burner can also lead sometimes to prolapse. So all of these things can be different qualities, but they all have that theme of being like a heaviness, a sluggishness. In the mind, it comes like a foggy mind, a heavy, foggy mind. So brilliant for that, brilliant point for that. Gastric pain and an earthing point, and it earth related back to the back pain. This is, and the reason why I brought up the support, this is a fantastic supporting point. We don't have time to really connect in deeply with it because we're already getting to the end of our class. But I want you to just really work in to that point and notice whereabouts you're connecting. Is it more into a part of the body? Because it can help the foot, it can help the knee, and it can help the hip. so heaviness even in the joints. But it's great as a supportive quality for the back and also for supporting the digestion as well as the functioning of the 3 burners. Spleen 3, the greatest supportive point for you all. Okay, we're going to have to finish up there, so I'm going to get rid of this slide for a moment. Please just take a moment to have a sense of the group, a sense of thanks for being here for the Wednesday class, being here, which we wouldn't be able to without all of you. So thank you, everyone. Have yourselves a lovely day. Goodbye, everyone. And thank you so much, Dinah. And there we go.